Welcome to the deep dive. We're kicking off today thinking about something, well, pretty fundamental. How do we find those really fulfilling connections? The friends who just get us.
It's a timeless question, really.
Yeah.
And today, we get to explore it through a very personal story.
Exactly. We're diving deep into Patrice Joy's book, My Search for Self. Fulfillment Brings True Friends of a Feather. This isn't theory, it's her life. Patrice shares her own path, overcoming challenges, finding inner peace.
And crucially, how that inner journey really paved the way for finding genuine relationships.
It totally illustrates that idea, doesn't it? That our outer connections often mirror what's going on inside.
Absolutely. The quality reflects the internal depth.
And just so everyone knows, our source today is Patrice herself, excerpts straight from her book. Our mission is to pull out the key insights on her self-discovery and how it connects to finding real friends without getting lost in, every single detail.
Right, keeping it focused on that core theme of self-discovery leading to connection.
Okay, let's unpack this. Patrice's story starts naturally with her early life and some really positive foundational influences.
Yes, the book paints a warm picture of her parents. She was a long-awaited daughter, born later in their second marriage after they'd hoped for a girl for, I think, 13 years.
Wow, 13 years. So her arrival was really a cherished event.
It seems so. Very much wanted.
And Patrice mentions her parents, who were grounded in their Southern Baptist faith, had these loving hopes for her, envisioning, a kind of traditional, happy life for her.
Which is common, right? Parents having aspirations. It often comes from a place of love, providing that security.
But it raises that question, doesn't it? How those hopes guide a child versus maybe sometimes conflicting with their own path emerging.
That's the delicate balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guidance versus allowing that space for individuality to bloom. Autonomy is key.
And Patrice, well, she clearly had this rich inner world right from the start, playing with fairies, writing stories. She even made a hope chest when she was just 10.
That really points to a vivid imagination, doesn't it? An active inner life looking for ways to express itself.
She also connected with fairy tales, especially Cinderella. What do you think that tells us?
Well, early imaginative play often reveals core desires, how kids process things. Cinderella, maybe suggests a yearning for transformation, a belief that things can change for the better.
Makes sense. And she had her first friend, Jane. They played in Jane's attic, dreaming of being neighbors. That really speaks to that basic need for connection, for shared dreams.
Oh, definitely. Those first friendships are so formative. They're our initial taste of, reciprocity outside the family. Builds a foundation.
Now, things weren't all smooth sailing. She dealt with dyslexia back in the 50s when it really wasn't understood well at all.
Right, and she developed these really clever ways to cope, creating stories for letters, visualizing notes. It shows incredible resourcefulness.
That resilience seems like a core part of her character right from the start. Adapting, finding solutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That inner strength likely served her very well later on.
It makes you think about how people develop these unique strategies, doesn't it?
It really does. It highlights how important it is to recognize different learning styles and, the power of creative thinking when standard methods don't fit. Though she did have a tough experience with an English teacher, which makes you wonder about the impact those negative interactions can have on a kid's confidence.
Oh, for sure. Negative feedback, especially when you're young, can really plant seeds of self-doubt. Educators have such a profound impact, good or bad.
And later, Patrice reflects that those early times, seeking acknowledgement, maybe fearing failure, actually fueled her drive to succeed later.
Ah, that's interesting. It's a common thing psychologically. Trying to overcome those early feelings or get the approval you felt you missed. That can definitely drive ambition.
The question then becomes, is it internal drive or needing that external pat on the back?
Exactly. A key distinction to explore. She also gives these warm, brief glimpses of her father, morning walks, praying together, teaching respect. Sounds like a loving figure.
Yes, and she mentions her mother being very busy, committed to work and church. It sounds like a supportive, if maybe traditional upbringing overall.
Providing that initial blueprint for connection.
Precisely. Okay, so let's shift now. Let's talk about her deeper search for identity and how that played out in her relationships as she got older.
Right, this is where things get really interesting in terms of her conscious self-discovery. At 33, she makes this huge choice, adopting the name Patrice Joy.
Yeah, deliberately choosing her own name. What a powerful act of self-definition, right?
Definitely. It signals moving away from maybe what was expected and really claiming her own sense of self, her own story.
And she talks about how society's ideas about love and marriage were, well, complicated for her early on. The ideals didn't quite line up with reality.
That happens so often, doesn't it? We absorb these cultural scripts about romance, and then life happens. Personal experience becomes the real teacher.
It really does. It's often a much more reliable guide.
And this is fascinating. In an NLP session, much later, in her 40s, she connected her dyslexia to a deeper confusion about right and wrong.
Wow. That's a profound link she made there. It suggests our internal wiring, even things that seem purely cognitive, can deeply shape our moral compass, or at least how we perceive it.
Exploring those connections seems key to self-awareness.
Absolutely. And she also hits this turning point around 45. She realizes that chasing external approval, trying to fit other people's definitions of success, it just wasn't fulfilling.
Recognizing that trap of external validation, that feels like a major breakthrough.
It is, because true fulfillment, it has to come from within, right?
Yeah.
Aligning with your own values, not just chasing likes or promotions.
Her early romantic life sounds like quite the journey. Marrying young, admitting she was in love with love.
Ah, yes. Focusing on the feeling of being in love, sometimes before checking for deeper compatibility.
And then experiencing challenges later, feeling neglected in other marriages. It sounds like she deeply wanted intimacy, but maybe hadn't fully anchored herself yet.
Which connects back to those societal expectations, perhaps, and the journey to finding that anchor within herself.
She uses these vivid metaphors, a tangled web of love, a merry-go-round of relationships. You really get the sense of being stuck in repeating patterns.
Oh, yeah. Those images are powerful. And breaking free from those cycles is incredibly hard because they're often rooted in unconscious stuff, aren't they? Beliefs, needs we aren't even aware of.
Until you bring them into the light, it feels like you're just stuck on repeat.
Exactly. But she did learn. She talks about lessons of goodbye, gaining real self-knowledge. She started recognizing these negative patterns in her relationships.
Identifying the patterns that had to be crucial.
Absolutely pivotal. It allows you to see your own part in the dynamic and hopefully make different choices next time. Conscious choices.
And interestingly, she draws a very clear line between those earlier experiences and her relationship with her fifth and current husband, Dan. She calls him an exception.
Right. Finding that true love, as she puts it, after finding herself, even in her 70s, that offers so much hope, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests it's never too late, especially if you do the inner work first. That work seemed to pave the way.
It seemed so. It built the foundation for something healthier.
She doesn't shy away from the emotional struggles in those earlier relationships, either that intense need to be heard, feeling erased, ignored.
Ugh, yes. Those are such universal pains when there's a lack of real validation and respect. When your core needs just aren't being met, it causes so much distress.
And she even says that during those tough times, home often felt like somewhere she had to leave to find peace again.
That says a lot, doesn't it? Home should be a sanctuary. When it's the source of stress, it signals a deep imbalance. Something needs to change.
So what really pushed her forward? What were the catalysts for this deeper dive into herself?
Well, Patrice is clear that personal traumas were a major turning point. They really motivated her to actively search for peace of mind, to really work through her stuff. It wasn't passive.
It often takes those really challenging times, doesn't it? To light a fire under us, make us seek deeper answers. Suffering can be a powerful motivator for growth.
Indeed. And she found insights through meditation. This beautiful idea came to her that life is like a tapestry, and relationships are the vehicles for our growth, our evolution.
That's such a powerful reframe. It means even the difficult relationships have a purpose, contributing to the whole picture.
Exactly. Adding richness and complexity, even through struggle.
A solo trip also seems key. She made a vow during that time to live more authentically, started questioning her motives. She even used this metaphor about wild things losing their essence if you take them out of nature.
Ah, yes. Seeking to reconnect with her own true, maybe wild nature. That solitude, stepping away from the everyday noise, can be incredibly clarifying. You see your own values more clearly.
And she reached this really crucial understanding. We aren't just victims of circumstance. Our thoughts, our words, our feelings, they actually shape our relationships.
That's a huge shift towards empowerment, isn't it? Taking responsibility for your inner world means you become an active creator of your experiences, not just reacting.
She also embraced practical tools, meditation, relaxation techniques, referencing Herbert Benson, a conscious effort to find inner calm.
Yeah, bringing those practices into daily life gives you tools to navigate the bumps with more balance, more resilience.
Nature played a role too. She saw a daisy field as symbolizing joy, new beginnings, finding meaning in the world around her.
Nature can be so restorative, offering those symbolic boosts of hope. Personal moments like that can really reinforce your intentions.
And the power of the mind became central. She mentions Maxwell Maltz's psychocybernetics.
Mm,
Understanding how our self-image shapes reality seems key to her transformation.
right. Psychocybernetics talks about the brain as this goal-seeking thing. Positive self-talk, visualization, they help steer it. By shaping your self-image, you influence your actions and what you experience.
So her focus shifted away from external goals, maybe, towards inner peace, quality relationships, better health. Those became the priorities.
That reflects a much deeper understanding of what actually leads to lasting fulfillment, doesn't it? Moving from external validation to internal well-being.
There was also a pivotal divorce, she calls it a crossroad, and a move to the woods, creating literal space for self-reflection, questioning her own inner authority.
Intentionally seeking that solitude. It's so valuable for gaining clarity, challenging old beliefs, and just hearing your own inner voice again.
And out of this, she founded Sisters of Safety SOS, which later became Seekers of Serenity. Helping others actually helped her own healing, too.
That happens so often. Serving others shifts your focus, gives you purpose, connection, and it can give you new perspectives on your own stuff, build empathy.
So after all these turning points, how did things shift towards more balance and connection for her?
Well, the 1990s seemed to be a period of, heightened spiritual awareness for her. She consciously carved out quiet time, prioritized meditation, really nurtured that inner spiritual dimension.
That intentional focus often comes when we're seeking deeper meaning, right?
Mm,
A connection to something bigger. It provides grounding.
definitely. And she gained some really profound insights in meditation, recognizing this pattern she had of trying to please everyone, feeling undeserving of love.
Oof. Uncovering those deep-seated beliefs must have been huge. That's the first step to letting them go.
It's absolutely vital. You have to see the script before you can rewrite it.
She also had this powerful experience on a mountain climb, feeling completely connected, at one with all life. That sounds incredibly transformative.
Those moments of unity, transcendence, they can shift your whole perspective on everything, give you a sense of deep belonging.
And a really significant realization. Letting go of trying to fix other people. That's such a crucial boundary in relationships, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely essential. For your own sanity and for healthier dynamics, you can only change yourself, your own responses.
She also mentions spirit journeys in meditation, getting insights about releasing codependency, finding her inner light, feeling protected. Those inner experiences sound like they really guided her.
Yeah, those deeper introspective practices can tap into intuition, inner wisdom, offer symbolic guidance, build resilience.
In her move to Crestone, Colorado, she says it was guided by intuition, synchronicities, trusting that inner compass.
Following intuition often leads us down unexpected, beneficial roads, and noticing synchronicities can feel like confirmation you're on the right path, aligned with something larger.
She sums up learning some ancient secrets, the power of words, thoughts as energy, being
Right.
present. Timeless stuff, really.
hmm They all point to that link between our inner world and outer reality. Being conscious of thoughts, words, the present moment, that's how we actively shape our life experience.
So after this really profound journey inward, how did love and fulfillment finally manifest for her?
Well, Patrice directly connects finding her ultimate mate, Dan, to having cultivated that inner peace and self-acceptance first. It reinforces that idea we attract what we embody.
It really does, like attracts, like in a way, when you're whole and peaceful inside, you're more likely to draw in someone who resonates with that harmony.
Exactly. And she shares this piece of advice she felt it came from her guardian angel. Don't let the fear of what might be destroy what could be.
Wow. That's a powerful nudge to move past fear and just be open to joy, isn't it?
Fear is such a huge barrier to love. That advice is all about stepping out, staying open to possibility.
And the way she describes her relationship with Dan, it sounds really beautiful. Open-hearted, unconditional love, peace, honesty. They handle things as equals, enjoy simple stuff together.
Yeah, it ticks all the boxes for a really healthy, thriving partnership, doesn't it? Mutual respect, communication, shared values, being a team through thick and thin.
They also share a spiritual connection. They have this Tree Cove Prayer Center. That suggests a really deep shared foundation.
A shared spiritual life can add so much depth and meaning. a framework for the big questions, a sense of shared purpose.
She also touches briefly on the seasons of life, the idea of learning lessons so you don't keep spiraling down, continuous growth.
Right. Life is this ongoing process of learning and adapting, recognizing patterns, choosing to evolve. That's how you avoid getting stuck.
And she keeps coming back to moving past limiting beliefs, prioritizing self-acceptance, forgiveness. Those seem like the bedrock.
Absolutely. Self-acceptance, forgiveness, they're foundational. For inner peace, for healthy relationships, they let you drop the baggage and just be present, with compassion for yourself and others.
Her self-care plan sounds pretty solid, too. Positive self-talk, gratitude, doing things she enjoys, just that ongoing nurturing of self.
It's not selfish, it's essential, right? You need to fill your own cup to have anything to give or to receive love healthily.
Okay, so let's bring it home with the final reflections from her book.
Yes, the concluding thoughts.
Right at the end of My Search for Self, Patrice writes this: "When my time on Earth is in the final chapter, I want to be someone who brings a smile to others. I want them to feel better about themselves because I hope to have touched their lives. I want to be thought of as a good listener who truly hears the heart cry of those with whom I come in contact."
Wow. That's really beautiful. It captures such a deep intention for kindness and genuine connection.
It really sums up her journey, doesn't it? The big takeaway feels like true fulfillment, those meaningful connections, they really grow from deeply understanding and accepting yourself compassionately.
Navigating everything life throws at you, the good and the bad, with resilience, with an open heart, that leads to a life of real connection, real purpose.
Her story is just such a powerful reminder that the journey inward, that's often the most direct route to enriching our outer world, finding those authentic friendships.
Well said. The inner work creates the outer reality.
So, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As your own story unfolds, what kind of impact do you hope to leave? What does it really mean for you to hear the heart cry of the people around you? Something powerful to think about.
Definitely something to mull over.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.